All right. Hi, everybody. It's Christine with Ladies of the Lanai, and I am back out on my lanai. I don't have Tina with me. She's off doing another project, plus she's getting ready to move. So it's just me and my special guest today. And when people retire and they come to the villages, one of the things that a lot of people get to do is try something new. Often beforehand, you might have been too busy, not had enough time, not had enough bandwidth or anything like that to start new things. And, we talk about how people learn sports like pickleball or take a class like cooking or other kind of enrichment. But what I found, well, one of the things that I learned how to do was to play Mahjong. I've always been sort of, for some reason or another, interested in wanting to learn, and I've got to learn to play here. So I'm really thankful to Chelsea Stanfield, who very generously taught me how to play, and sort of through Chelsea, I found out Miss Debbie Barnett, and so that she's a real expert, possibly even the queen of Mah Jongg of the villages. I'm not really sure, but I'm going to call it the queen for now. So I sort of already introduced yourself, but if you introduce yourself again for the audience.
Yeah, hello everybody, and I'm so happy to be a part of this show. So thank you so much for having me. And my name is Debbie Barnett, and yes, I am all about Mahjong. Mahjong is my business, and I just love it. So I'm so excited to be able to share more about it with you today.
Fabulous. So, nutshell, you're a teacher of Mahjong. You have classes, you run tournaments, you've gotten some books, and we'll talk about all that later. So hold on to your seats because here we go. So, Debbie, what exactly is Mahjong, or what would you call it? I've heard it's making order out of chaos. What would you say?
Yeah, and I think that was Julia Roberts who said that. So it is a Chinese tile game. It started in China, played primarily by men. And it came over to the U.S. Originally by Joseph Babcock, who was an American businessman who was visiting in China, who discovered Mahjong, and he wanted to standardize it for us Americans and brought it over here. And it did gain some popularity in the beginning, and then it waned a bit. And
When was that? Like roughly when?
Early 1925 on-ish. I think around 1927 is when he came over here with the game and standardized it and wrote a book on it. And it lost some, gained popularity, it lost some popularity, and it didn't get really popular until the National Mahjong League was formed in 1937. And that's when they wanted to standardize it and really fine-tune the rules and make it, I guess they would have said make it easy for the American people to play and understand, but when in fact it's a very challenging game.
It is challenging. Yeah. How did you get involved with Mahjong?
Okay, so I started watching my mom play when I was a young girl. So I probably started watching her play when I was 7 or 8 years old. And I got very familiar with the name of the tiles, and I just loved listening to the clicking of the tiles. And of course, the food and goodies that she had out for all of her friends. Yeah, and so these are the Mahjong tiles. This is one type, or one set, I should say. These are designers sets.
Yeah. So they make this little sound it's somehow
related to the one-dam bird and the sparrow and the sound of the chirping of the sparrow.
Cool.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm saying that exactly right, but that's what came from. Yeah. So this one clattering, I think it's chattering sparrows, but
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. So these are Debbie very nicely, because I don't have Mahjong, but I bring them over.
These are designer ones, and these are from my fair Mahjong. There's lots of incredible designers out there.
Look at here's the good one that everybody wants.
Oh yeah, the Joker.
The Joker.
The lucky Joker tile. But they're just so fun, and there's something about the feel of the tiles that
Yeah, they're
all,
soft, they're glossy, they
yeah.
have this nice sound.
And some of them are smaller, bigger,
Is it
fatter.
standard size or is this?
No, this is a little larger
A little
and
larger.
yes, and maybe a little thinner,
Thinner.
but they come in all sizes.
And they
really do.
And what's this material? You know, some sort of acrylic or?
This is not, I mean, they come in, the ancient ones were bone and bamboo and all different types of materials, but the newer ones are not made with, yeah, and that's the cute carrying bag that they come in. There's all kinds of accessories, and people just dress up their mahjong table when they have their friends over.
So we diverted a little bit because you started talking about the sound of it, and I just had to jump on that. But you said that you watched your mom play and you loved the sound, and then what happened?
Well, when I was in my mid-20s, I was invited to sit down and play in a game at the beach club where I grew up in Connecticut. And the ladies played on the sand. They had the table set up all over, and my first grade teacher was one of the players there who played with my mom. And I used to just hang around them. And I guess I learned through osmosis, is what I always say. When she said to me one day, I want you to sit in on the next game and I'm going to sit out and watch you, I literally freaked out. I really did. But I sat down. I was never taught how to play. She might have given me a little guidance. I don't really even remember that. But I just started playing and I was hooked. So now it was my job to recruit all of the young mothers all my friends and all the young mothers I could find to form a game. And we played in the evening because we all had young kids.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you can only play
around, right?
Each game takes roughly, would you say 20 minutes or less?
Well, it depends. You know, when a newer player could take as long as 30 minutes for a game or longer. But when you start getting more experienced at the game, you start to play. Much, much quicker.
So, when I talk about the fact that I'm learning, I hear others tell me the following: I can't possibly learn mahjong. I have no room in my brain. I'm not smart enough. I thought all those things about myself, but I was just determined to play and to go push through anyway. But what would you say to those people who say, I can't possibly learn, I have no room in my brain, no bandwidth, I'm not smart enough? What would you say?
Okay, well, the first thing I say is there are hundreds of thousands of people that play this game across the country, which means that there's something to this game, correct?
Yes.
And I have taught thousands of students myself, and everybody learns the game.
Yeah.
It is challenging. I will not deny that. It is challenging. But it is so good to keep our cognitive skills alive as we get older. And that's what I think attracts the older population to the game.
Right. It keeps you sharp. But we need to do something to keep us sharp, right? For sure.
Exactly.
Otherwise, it goes muscle that you don't use will, slowly atrophy, if you will. I'm getting a little dramatic here, but want to keep exercising our brain. I think Mahjong is a great way. And you've said yourself that Mahjong brings people together. How would you describe the fact that Mahjong brings people together?
Sure.
And before you start, you say that we get this question a lot. One of our most popular, I should say, videos is how to make friends. When I move here, how am I going to make friends? So,
oh my goodness.
What do you think about that?
Well, perfect. Well, Mahjong is all about community, and it is an incredible community. It is one of those things where if you have some really dark days or you have health issues going on, Mahjong is one of those things that helps you get your mind off of everything else. Because when you're playing it, you don't think about anything else but making a hand on that from that card and, just getting Mahjong, which is so exciting when we say Mahjong, right? And, that's what makes it so nice here in the villages. We are a huge Mahjong community here.
Mhm.
Probably, and I say this often, we probably have the largest amount of Mahjong players in the villages than any other city in the United States. And there are no statistics out there, but I'm putting it out there, villages, that I would love that statistic to be part of your fun fact statistics.
Well, we've got the most amount of pickleball courts than anywhere else, right?
Mhm.
Or something like that. And
Golf courses.
I've just learned that we've got the most amount of platform tennis courts
Yeah.
than of anywhere else. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were able to come up with that statistic as to
Yeah.
how many Mahjong players that we have to. So if somebody wanted to start from zero, what should they do?
Well, okay. The first and most important thing is to find a qualified instructor. And I say that because I consider myself a qualified instructor, number one, but I also teach a lot of players next level Mahjong who have been taught by instructors that, I don't know them, I'm appreciative that they are teaching the game, but a lot of them are not qualified, and then they come to a next level class and they were like, but I wasn't taught that, I didn't know that, so make sure you do your homework.
Mhm.
Let's make sure when you reach out to an instructor, and there are lots of them here,
Okay.
and it's growing, that you ask questions like, how long have you been playing? Do you play by the National Mahjong League rules? Do you own a copy of Mahjong Made Easy, the rule book? These are basic things that especially if you're paying for lessons, you have the right to know this information. So that to me is the most important thing.
So how would you find a teacher in the villages? Is there a directory? Is there a website? Is there a Facebook group? Like, how do you find a teacher?
Well, there's no directory, but they do have an enrichment academy. And the Enrichment Academy, for most of us around the country, look at it as adult education, given at most schools. But they've changed it up here, and they do these enrichment academies in the recreation centers, and they list these classes in alphabetical order. So you can go to Mahjong and find it. They also have many clubs in the weekly activity paper. So you could find a club there, and the person who runs the club, like I have a club, they'll call me up and they'll say, are you just a club to come in and play, or do you teach? And that's when I can.
And we'll put Debbie's contact information in the description of the video. So if you wanted to do that, you certainly could find her. And when you say the activity booklet, do you mean that recreation?
Yeah, the
calendar that's available in every single rec center, or you'll get it in your newspaper if you get the newspaper. But if you don't, you can go to the rec centers, and they're always there to just take home with you if you wanted to. Fabulous. So, you were a teacher by trade, were you, or this is like a new?
No, but I should have been. When I was a young girl, I wanted to be a special education teacher. I have always loved teaching. So from in my 20s, I was teaching how to knit and crochet to my friends. And I had little businesses throughout the years of teaching. So when Mahjong came into my world in my mid-20s, I segued into teaching in 2006. And it just has been just a joy. Really, I love the game so much, and I love teaching and sharing my passion with others. Yeah.
So not only do you teach, but you also created Mahjong. What is Mahjong?
Well, Mahjong, and I did have originally, I had a partner in the business, and that's when it was born several years back. And then we went our separate ways because we just have different interests, and we just thought it was better. And so Mahjong is a big event that happens in October of every year. And it's a multi-day event
Mhm.
where you could choose different ticket types, and all level players are welcome. So sometimes people will see an advertisement and they'll say to me, "Oh, I'm not ready for MajCon yet. I'll be ready." No, MajCon is for beginner through advanced players,
Okay.
and a place where you could feel comfortable coming in and meeting other people in our city. But we also have people that come in from all over the country.
So it's sort of like a tournament convention,
Well,
Like-
it's a social play
social play,
and tournament,
and tournament. Okay.
multi-day kind of
And
Mahjong conference.
Can you also like buy things there?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, oh yeah.
Okay.
We have lots of great exhibitors, everybody's selling Mahjong wares. And we also have, lots of good stuff. And we also do a big silent auction.
Uh-huh.
And I think we're gonna talk a little
Yeah.
bit more about the fundraising.
Yeah, well,
Aspect
you know,
of
since you brought it
Mahjong,
up, well,
yeah.
let's talk about it now. You do have a big fundraising piece
Mhm.
to what you do.
Exactly. So currently I am a for-profit business, but I am transitioning into a nonprofit.
Oh, okay.
And I thought it was going to be a quick 2-month thing, and it turns out that little things always happen along the way, and it's taking a lot longer
Okay.
than I anticipated.
Mhm.
But I thought it was a good way to segue into the nonprofit, because through my fundraising efforts that I do, pretty much do everything through my fundraising efforts, and I don't make a lot of profit. So I was like, well, why keep it a for-profit company when most of my efforts go, and most of the money I make go to a nonprofit cause, which is Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's.
Yes, so the silent auction raises money for Alzheimer's. I get the most incredible donations from designers, like the set that I showed you earlier, designers of sets, people that make things, but it's all Mahjong related items,
Mhm.
and those are bid on in a silent auction way. The proceeds, 100% of that goes to Alzheimer's.
Fabulous.
And I do
Wonderful.
50-50 raffles as well,
Yeah,
where we
yeah.
sell tickets and then we give it away.
Lovely.
Half of it to the person who wants, and half to Alzheimer's.
Very nice.
So it's
I
really,
love that.
really cool.
So, speaking of tournaments, what would be your advice for a first-time player, say a beginner, going to one of these tournaments for the first time? What would you give them?
Yeah, great question. And of course, MajCon has a tournament event as well. So it is what I like to focus on, first of all, with my tournaments that I run, is that it's welcoming to new players. That somebody doesn't have to feel afraid to start with their first tournament. And that can be a little bit tricky because there are some people that aren't always so nice, which I hate to say. I really don't like to even say that, but
You know what? You can say, because it's the same way with pickleball. It's the same way with golf.
when somebody new comes on
You'll
board.
find people that are welcoming to the new player and will say things like, "If you don't mind, I can give you a tip here.
I love that.
If you don't
I
mind,
love that.
I'll give you a tip."
Mhm.
Or there's people that in pickleball, I've had people say to me, "Did you take pickleball 101? Like, did you?" And I was like,
Like in a nasty
horrified.
way.
I was horrified. And I did take pickleball 101 and 102, and
Yeah.
I did. I just didn't, not.
Yeah, you weren't just there yet.
So what you
weren't
want
ready
to
yet.
find those friendlier people
Really?
that are going to remember that they were you once,
Yes.
and they exist. If you run into I'm going to call them a bully,
Yes.
pickleball, golf, or mahjong, just it's time to go find another group.
Yeah,
What'd you say?
yeah, and especially if you come to an event like mine, it's often a reflection on me, which is upsetting, of course, right? Because I'm trying to run the friendliest, the nicest, and most comfortable place for people to come
Nice.
and everybody to be welcome.
I like
So
that.
I want people to tell me if they run into any experience, because I would rather ban one person from
Yeah.
coming to my event
Yeah.
than not having that person, that attendee, come back
Yeah.
and try again.
Yeah. So it's one a strategy, advanced or beginner type strategy that many players overlook when they play the game.
I have a system, a nice system of how to form your tiles when you have them in your rack.
Mm-hmm.
Because we start out with these 13 or 14 tiles if you're the beginner player, which is the East player. And if you're not shown a system, you are just, I don't know what to do. And often beginner players will focus on a consecutive run because it's like easy to say, pick one matching suit and be like, oh, I have 3, 4, 5, 6, or just collect all of the consecutive run tiles. But that now excludes the entire card. So I have a very unique system that I work with my beginners from the time we start playing until the time they leave.
I want
Yes.
to know that.
Yes, yes. It's great, and I do continuing workshops all the time
Okay.
for that next level for people to start to be able to really feel comfortable and play the whole card. That's the whole point. We have over 1,000 hand variations.
Yeah, because
You
I
don't
know
want to focus in. You don't want to put yourself in one box. Does that sound familiar to you, by the way?
it does. It does sound familiar. I do have a way of organizing my tiles. Well, whatever. I've made a way, and maybe it's probably the wrong way. I don't know. We'll talk later.
Coming in now, Christine. So, we may be able to work that out.
All right. So, I have a few questions to wrap it up. If you could play a game of Mahjong with anyone, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Oh my God. Who would it be? Oh my. I mean, I think it would be really cool to play a game with Julia Roberts. I mean,
Yeah.
she comes to mind.
Yeah.
I have played with so many fabulous, well-known people across the country just in our community, and I couldn't say one over another, but I make it a point when I travel to reach out to those people. I don't think I'm going to be able to connect with Julia.
Julia, if you're watching,
But
call Debbie.
yeah, but I would love to. I mean, right.
And finally, what's the one major thing about Mahjong that people misunderstand or don't get?
Don't get. Okay, well, I think what they misunderstand is that a lot of people think that initially that it's one of those games that they saw online.
Yeah, I did.
Where they match the tiles
That's
and they
what I
go
thought.
and disappear.
I thought it was a matching game.
A matching game. It's somewhat a matching game because the card, which we use, has different groupings. You have to make one line on the card, and you have to match the tiles in those groupings.
Yeah.
So it certainly is sort of like a gin rummy game, in a way, but it is a little bit more complex. So I just think my greatest word of advice is to give it a try. Do not think that it's too challenging to learn because it is so much fun and it's addicting.
Yeah, and I will say that I also play online by myself with bots or robots, right? Not real people. Because I found that when I go even to these social events, I still get overwhelmed at sometimes and just freeze in a way. And the more and more that I played online with the robots, and then I'd see them win, and I'd be able to study what their hand was that caused them to mahjong, and I understood it better when I was able to see that. So that's my tip, and
That's
your tip
great.
is to not give up. And
Definitely don't give
don't give up. If you're intrigued by it, there's a reason why you're intrigued by it, and don't let the fact that it's taking you a while to grasp it, because it took me a while to grasp it. And it's even a lot of the hands I still don't. When I look at the options that they give you, what you could use, I still don't know how to translate all of those into what I see on my book.
Absolutely.
But
the online is really important, and I do make that a part of my beginner series is to get people playing online and practicing against the bots. It definitely helps.
And we'll put some of the links to some of those online games. Some of them are free, some of them are free trial, and then you pay down below too. So if you want to check that out, but I would encourage you to first take a class. Don't just hop right into the game.
Absolutely.
You need to have a human being you could kind of talk to and ask back and forth. So
yeah.
Deb, Debbie, thank you
Yeah,
so
you're welcome,
much
Kristen.
for
Thank
agreeing to
you.
come on today. I really appreciate you, and hopefully helping some of our listeners, who might have been curious about Mahjong, how to jump in and start playing. And you'll get all that information. We'll put it in the description before.
And I hope to meet some of you at some of my events.
Yeah, and if you see Debbie out there, just say, I want to learn.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm easy to find.
So, again, if you like the content that Tina and I bring to you, please don't forget to like and subscribe. We work really hard on bringing you things that we think you'll enjoy, and we love to hear your feedback as well. And we love to hear it in the ways of likes and subscribes and sharing the video out to others. So please don't be shy. All right, thanks.
Sure.
We'll see you next time out on the
Bye.
line.